Good evening, Mizzou fans. Gabe DeArmond here. State of the Tigers coming at you on Monday night, as we always do. Going to talk some football tonight, going to talk some basketball tonight, and we're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about because the regular season is over. The first thing we're going to talk about is your insurance, which, look, it is. I was driving home this morning. It took me 30 minutes to drive what normally takes 10. It was not because the roads were awful. It was because everyone in Missouri acted like they had never seen snow on the ground before. So if you share the road with people like that, you might need insurance because you are a good driver. Other people are terrible drivers. Get in touch with James Carlton, 314-961-4800, carltoninsurance.net. He can hook you up with the best deals on all of your insurance needs. Now let's share the screen with Cody Goodwin. He's right there. Cody, regular season's like football's done, man. You just kick it for the next 9 months, right? Like you don't have to do anything anymore.
I think it was you that said when I first got hired that college football is a 24/7, 365 job. So like we are full into like roster management mode for the next 2 months or something. So we're not done yet, but we can probably now safely take a nap in the middle of the day during some of these weeks. So at least we got that going for us.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'd be safe tomorrow. Wednesday is signing day. Everybody already wants to know the portal, all that. So like we will very quickly wrap up. Honestly, one of the most boring football games I've ever seen, at least until the last 7 minutes. Like, I still, me and Billy were talking before you got on here. He's like, yeah, I kept flipping back and nothing was going on. And I said, yeah, Missouri threw 7 passes the whole day. He said, wait, what? Like that was that game.
Yeah. I mean, when you average 6 yards a carry, there's no reason to throw the ball. And, I think it was Drink that said afterwards, like you find a way to win the game. Every game's different, whatever the case. Rewatching it, I I wrote this in the rewatch. Like we didn't learn a whole lot watching it live, and I'm not sure that I learned a ton rewatching it. Like I found some small details and some of the sequences that we were paying closer attention to, like Ahmad Hardy's 53-yard run. Like there were, I think at the time I said like 3 to 4 Arkansas defenders. There were 5, I think, that I counted that actually had a legit shot to bring him down, and one of them was a 6'5", 387-pound defensive tackle that was the first one to meet him in the hole, and somehow Hardy still did not go down, which is like a credit to Hardy, right? Because he finished the regular season as the leader in yards after contact with, I think, 1,111. And also whatever the opposite of a credit is to Arkansas's defense, because that defense stinks, man. Like that was tough to watch. Like when the other team only throws the ball 7 times because they know they can beat you one way, like that is, I don't know, man. Like I hope Silverfield can turn them around, because I do agree with Drink. He said this kind of near the end of his opening statement after the game that the SEC and college football is a lot more fun when Arkansas is good. They don't have the same effect as like when a Miami's good or an Ohio State's good or a Michigan's good or something like that. But like it tends to be more fun when like, you have to throw more than 7 passes to beat a team, right? Like maybe you feel different, but I don't know.
I thought that was a weird comment from Drink. Like I think he was genuine. I don't think it was this like, I'm going to throw fake pity at you. I think he meant it as a guy who grew up in Arkansas, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody say college football is better when Arkansas is good. I mean, I've heard people say it about Notre Dame and Florida State, and I think it's stupid then, to be quite honest. Like, I don't think I like college football now where, like, I don't really know if anybody's good, but everybody has a chance, I like that way more than, baseball's better when the Yankees are good. No, baseball's better when other teams have a chance. I don't really give a damn if the Yankees are good. I don't care if Arkansas is good or not. Like the SEC is, I'll be honest, I've only ever covered the SEC when Arkansas is not good. So maybe college football is way better when Arkansas is good. I don't know. I haven't really seen that part.
Yeah, no, somebody just chimed in with a comment like that's what the ratings people say, which okay, yeah. There's probably some truth to that. Like there's, people love the big brands, like to use the baseball argument, like when it's a Dodgers Yankees World Series, like even people that don't care about baseball are going to tune in because it's New York and LA, right? Like I get that part of it, but also like how many of us have been paying attention to Vanderbilt this season that we normally wouldn't, but because they have a quarterback that's probably going to go to New York for the Heisman ceremony, and depending on how the rankings come out tomorrow, they're probably going to be in the thick of the playoff race, right? Like Ole Miss, traditionally never a team that is, in contention. Now, there might be a segment of America that roots for them after the whole Lane Kiffin thing, and we'll probably get into that a little bit more now that that's finally finalized. But I think I agree with you that college football is a lot more fun when there's a lot more people that have more chances. Like it's not just the blue bloods all the time, but at the same time, like there is that ratings argument that the blue bloods bring in the viewership, right? Like there was one year, I forget when it was. It's happened a few different times where like the Final Four, now we're talking basketball. When the Final Four is like 3 out of the 4 are blue bloods, or all 4 of them are blue bloods. Like that's, people might shrug and roll their eyes at that, but it's also like, they're historically good, right? Like I think more people are going to pay attention to this than not. So I see both sides, and I've enjoyed this season. So
it's better for the casual fan. I'm going to watch no matter what. Want to invite you guys, questions, comments, all that. We're going to get to those a little bit earlier than usual tonight because A, we don't have that much to talk about yet. B, Drew King made a special request. He wants to join for the coaching carousel Lane Kiffin talk. So we're going to save the coaching carousel stuff for this. Also, we've got a new open to the show, courtesy of Michael Brendlinger. I'm starting every show from now on, Hate Idiots. And like, I think if people watch for the first time, they're going to be like, well, screw this guy. Why did he call me an idiot? They're not going to get it at all. But I don't feel like this is a show that's like really trying to bring in new people. I feel like we have a pretty niche audience. They're already here. And if they're not here, they're not just going to show up and be like, why is this guy calling me an idiot?
Well, wouldn't that be the like part of the fun though? Like obviously we want to like grow the readership and like,
right.
The Mizzou fans that for whatever reason are not tuned into Power Mizzou, like we want them to come join the show. And if some of them are like, why do they call the hosts idiots? Like, we can rehash that if we need to. Maybe that's something we have to like write into a board post and just pin it on the top page, like PM in the AM, idiot. There you go. No, maybe that's something we have to write on the board and pin it to the top so that people understand it when the new guys come in.
Yeah, I like it better when people don't understand it. Like the Eli Drinkwitz commitment analysis I wrote today, I wanted more people to not understand that was like a bit, but all right. So let's just get to some of the offseason stuff. And we're going to start with Scott Fitz's super chat. This is as good a place to start as any, because I feel like the number one question for Missouri this offseason is what the hell is going to happen at quarterback? And so Scott Fitz is asking if Bo's worth $2 million. There was a post on our message board indicating that Penn State may have offered Bo $2 million to come back, Bo Perbula. I can't verify that's true. I've said a number of times, the numbers that are out there, I don't know if they're true or not. Some of them are, some of them are inflated, whatever. But it leads, and Scott, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. It leads to, this is a delicate thing for Eli Drinkwitz to handle this offseason, because I find it hard to think he is going to keep both Bo Perbula and Matt Zollers. It's possible, but also like I watched both those guys play, and I think he kind of has to bring a transfer into the room, doesn't he?
I think it all comes back to like, what do you want the offense to look like, right? Like, do you want it to be, this kind of veer and shoot type deal with Bo? Because like if Bo's there, they're going to run the quarterback. It's obviously going to be run heavy when you've got Hardy and Roberts and Davis, assuming all of those guys come back, right? Or do you want to be a little bit more drop back passing, in which case you kind of have to hand the key over to Zollers. So, and that gets to, I mean, that's just the Bo conversation. There's another conversation where, if Bo has offers to go somewhere else, and he might, right? Like it's college football. Like, let's not play dumb. There are agents that are having these conversations before the portal opens. There have been a number of guys from other teams that have already announced intention to transfer. And if you let Bo walk, that now you have another predicament here. Do you just hand the key to Zollers and you bring in somebody who's maybe experienced to help him develop? Or do you try and go find another guy to have Zollers either sit and get that full redshirt developmental year that he was probably banking on this season, or you risk him transferring depending on if you go get somebody else? And so this is a very interesting conversation, I think. And it's kind of a, what ride do you want to go with? right? Like, do you want to try and go with Bo and hope he takes a year 2 jump? Do you want to hand the keys to Zollers and live with the ups and downs? Do you want to try and go find an instant 1-year rental and pray that Zollers stays, right? Because Drink has not been shy about calling him the future of the program. So there's a lot of different, I think, things that are in the air and a lot of different, avenues that you could take here when it comes to Mizzou for quarterback in 2026.
Here's what it comes down to me. Whatever offense you run, I don't care what it is. Did you see anything out of anybody that's currently on Missouri's roster this year that tells you Missouri can go into 2026 counting on this being their starting quarterback and being better than they were this year?
If you're looking,
even as
no, I don't think so.
Neither.
Like, I think you're either putting a lot of hope in Bo taking a year 2 jump. You're putting a lot of hope in Zollers not getting the full developmental year and that he will just kind of learn on the fly. Or you're going to take a chance that, one or both might go if you dip into the transfer portal quarterback market. And it sounds like there's going to be a number of strong arms there. But that's, I don't know. Like, I don't know that I would necessarily feel confident until like going into spring ball, since that's the next big thing on the calendar. I don't know that I necessarily feel confident about the quarterback position for Missouri right now.
And the issue here is, and Drink kind of brought it up last week, is last year they could have gone through spring ball and gotten a look at these guys and then maybe said, okay, I didn't see enough. We got to go add somebody to they can't do that this year. They've got to make this decision by January 16th. And look, the kids might make it for them. Like Bo might come in, Zollers might come in. I don't have any inside information here, guys. I'm just saying it's possible. One of them might come in the next 2 weeks and say, hey, I'm out. I'm going into the transfer portal. And if they do that, then it automatically makes your decision. But I mean, if you're Drink, I just didn't see anything that tells me you can stand pat and go into next year with this as your quarterback room and know what you're getting. Like, I do think I don't like 1-year rentals. Like, one of the things I liked about Bo was he had 2 years. So there is definitely a chance that he is a much better quarterback next year than he was this year. But you are taking a risk. There is certainly a chance that, hey, Matt Zollers, true freshman, didn't play last year, has this rocket arm. Over spring ball and fall camp, he figures it out, and all of a sudden he comes in next year and gives you a really, really good effort. I was going to say like a Ty Simpson type thing, but I think that's a little far out there. But, a really good first-year starting quarterback. But again, it is you're hoping. And like these coaches in this era of college football, they don't really want to put a lot in hope. They want to have something they feel good about at that position. And I just don't know from watching this team what you can feel really good about. Also, you mentioned, a run heavy offense, all that. This is not even joking. How do you recruit wide receivers if your offense is what you showed on Saturday? Like, how do you convince anybody to come here out of the portal if that's what your offense was?
You go get a quarterback out of the portal that can throw the ball. Like, that was the thing about Bo coming.
But I'm saying, if you're sticking with this run heavy offense, we're going to run the ball 70% of the time. Like, dude, that's a 1-year thing. And how do you convince any wide receiver to come here?
No, I mean, if you're sticking with the quarterbacks that are currently in the room, it might be kind of hard, right? Like, you're going to have like Alubade, assuming he's going to stay, right? Because Drink has alluded that him and Zollers are both on those 2-year deals. So like, you're going to have Alubade, and he's, I imagine, probably going to be de facto wide receiver 1 going into spring, right? And so number 2 behind him is probably going to get some good target share, but then like past that, like the depth that's what's maybe going to worry me going forward, is like, you're not going to have, let's say number 2 or number 3, or, God help us, D.O. goes down, right? Like the depth behind him is worrisome if you're going to roll with the same quarterback room that you had this year. Like, that would be the worry, or the trickle down effect. I'm curious too, because you and I are kind of monitoring this situation. And I'm not saying that something is going to happen, but if Eli decides to make some staff changes, i.e. change offensive coordinator, how much does that impact what happens at quarterback? How much does that impact what the offense looks like, right? Like you're going to probably have Hardy back. So obviously you're going to want to run the ball 60% of the time, at least 55% of the time when you got a dude like that. But in terms of the quarterback and the style of offense, like that's I feel like that's another variable here that we don't need to account for yet, but it's out there, right? Like it's at least a possibility, maybe.
Right. And like you're not going to go hire an air raid offensive coordinator with Ahmad Hardy in the backfield, so that doesn't marry with what Drink does, but it is a factor. And I want to go back. There were a couple of comments. Somebody said Bo didn't even have a bad year. You're right. He didn't have a bad year. He just didn't have a year that tells me I know that I've got a guy that can go win 10 games in the SEC. Because let's be honest, man, that's the goal. Like these guys are not going into, there is no year you now go into and go, yeah, it's fine if we're just 7-5. We're good with the step back. No, every year is a go for it year in college football now. And all we're saying is I didn't see anything out of either of these quarterbacks that tells me I can feel confident in that. It may happen. I just didn't feel confident in it. There was also a comment from Justin Smith. I need to know if this is actually the real Justin Smith because his profile picture is the real Justin Smith. I know the real Justin Smith a little bit and would be shocked if he is spending his Monday night on our YouTube show. But Justin Smith, if that was you, just let us know in the chat, man. Appreciate it. So outside of quarterback, which is, I think, the biggest question for almost every team in the country, like, where do you look at this team and say, okay, this is what I'm focusing on, either entering the portal, getting out of the portal? Like, what are your biggest, give me one on each side of the ball, maybe, where you go, I'm interested to see what happens here before, January 20th or whatever.
The trenches, 100%, both of them. You're going to have to probably restock offensive line, right? Because Tollison, gone. Trost, gone. Like Piegler, who felt good about that guy this year? Green's going to have an NFL decision he's going to have to make, right? Like there's enough questions there that you're going to have, and they have some recruits in the room, right? But they're largely unproven, same as Zollers, right? Like I'm not sure that we have seen enough to feel confident about what those guys might bring to the table. So that's that's a position they're going to have to hit in the portal. But then also defensive line, and this one's even easier, right? Like Dame Wilson probably leaving for the NFL, Zion Young definitely leaving for the NFL, Chris McClellan out of eligibility, right? They have good depth there, right? Like Langdon Kitchen, he's talked glowingly, he being Drink, about Dayton Hopkins, Javion Hilson. Like there are dudes in that room, but you can never have enough defensive linemen, right? So are those guys going to be the immediate impact guys that, the first three that we mentioned, right? Zion, Dame, and Chris McClellan. Like you're going to have Sterling Webb there. Marquise Gracial, I think, has one more year left, right?
Sterling Webb's done too.
Sterling Webb's done too. Okay, so yeah, they need to go get interior help, or they need to hope that the guys they have in the room are ready to roll, right? So like, I think that's a position that you might feel better about just because they went deep into the rotation this year and you like the guys that they're bringing in. But I think you still want to go get some guys that have experience that might, bring them in similar to Bo, where they've got a year or two left to help those younger guys grow up a little bit and to help them continue to mature and continue them on the trajectory. Because like Dayton Hopkins probably took massive steps forward this year because he had Zion Young to look at and because he had Dame Wilson to look at. Does Darius Smith have another year?
Yeah, he can come back.
So I like the versatility that he brings. So there's maybe your de facto leader in that particular room coming into the season. But like, he's also a guy that they'll back him up to Jack. They'll sometimes play him in the middle. They'll sometimes play him spy. Like that's a dude that can do a little bit of everything. I like the versatility that he'll bring, but just, you're losing a lot of high-end talent when it comes to the defensive line and the edge defenders and those group. I would like to see them go get some experienced guys that will help continue to bring these younger guys along, because I think a lot of these younger guys in that D-line group can be really, really good. I don't know that they're there yet, but once you give them maybe a season full of the A and B team snaps where they're kind of first or second in the rotation as opposed to third, fourth, fifth, then I think we'll maybe see them take some bigger jumps. But I would like to see them restock the depth there with some experience through the portal. So the trenches, both sides, that's what I'm most curious in.
I'm not super worried about defensive end because Kitchen's back, Nate Johnson's back, Darius Smith is back. Hilton and Hopkins, like they have to play next year, they're leaving. So, I think you're okay there. Defensive tackle is terrifying. I mean, Marquise Gracial played 8 snaps against Arkansas. Jalen Marshall played about 12 a game, something like that. Those are right now your top two guys, and I don't really know what they've got behind him. I know they like Jason Dowell. Sam Williams been here 2 years. Elias Williams been here 2 years. I haven't gotten on the field. Next year has to be the year, but defensive tackle is huge. The other one, dude, they basically don't bring a cornerback back that played a meaningful snap. I mean, they had 3 guys play meaningful snaps at corner, and they're all gone. Dre Norwood, Toriano Pride, Stephen Hall, all done after this year. The most snaps of any cornerback coming back, Cameron Keys played 50 snaps, and they were just, I mean, it was just all garbage type snaps. Like, he didn't play in close games or in meaningful time. So I think they need minimum 1 starter at corner, and they might need 2 starters at corner out of the portal, because I just don't know that they have anybody there. So that's a lot, man. Like, and I get it. It's probably not that unusual, but one of the concerns of the super reliance on the portal the last couple of years is you just get in a cycle where you have to do it all the time now, right? Because once you get a couple years of we've gone so heavy on the portal, well, those guys cycle out, and then you have no idea what you have behind them because the guys behind them haven't played. Now, I'm sure the coaches have a better idea than I do. For example, they see more than stretching out of these guys, but there are just a lot of these. I mean, the recruiting class 2 years ago, Missouri signed 22 guys, and I think at least 8 of them are already gone, and so you get in this spot where it's like, yeah, the portal class was awesome, but they've all got 1 or 2 years, and now they're gone, and now we need another portal class like that. And then next year we need they took Dre Norwood and Toriano Pride in the portal 2 years ago. Well, now those guys are gone, and I don't know what's behind them.
Yeah, they signed a 4-star, was it last year? Or maybe it's this year that they're signing a 4-star corner. So maybe,
yeah, I'd have to go look.
Like, hey kid, like, might have to grow up pretty quick, right? Like Jackson Gates out of California, 4-star guy, top 247 guy. So that's, hey, maybe he'll have to grow up pretty quick, or maybe they'll, go back into the portal. Like that's a tough way to live, to have to constantly go to the portal for certain positions. But like if that's the way you're choosing to live, like you better make contact when you swing the bat every single time. And I'll give Drink this. He has done fairly well when it comes to reloading certain positions through the portal. We can talk plenty about running back, but like being able to grab that many corners in back-to-back portal years, I thought that was pretty impressive. They've obviously found really good edge defenders. They have found various skill guys. The offensive line has, that's maybe a different discussion, but like Keegan Trost was a great find this year. Like he tends to do pretty well when it comes to talent identification in the portal. But yeah, certain positions, like he needs to not just make contact, like he needs to like slap some doubles to the wall if he wants to make sure that this defense stays, probably hard to ask them to stay at an elite level given how many bodies they're losing, but to stay at a good or great level next year, like you better find some dudes.
Well, like Mark Fenton says, every team has these problems. And I want to be clear, like, I'm not saying this is like they've done a bad job, or I don't know. Every team may have these problems. I don't follow every team this closely, right? So, like, I know these are the problems Missouri has. I don't know what Ole Miss has to replace, or Georgia or LSU or Michigan or whatever. But it is, I think they have kind of made a decision that when it comes to portal or high school, they're going to lean portal. That does not mean always, right? Like Donovan Alubade, high school player. Jamal Roberts, high school player. Brett Norflate, like they're going to take high school kids. They've got 21 of them, I think, that are supposed to sign on Wednesday. So they're still going to take them. But I think if it comes down to one or the other in a certain spot, they've leaned portal more, which then just makes it's a cycle. Once you start to rely on it, you almost have to become more reliant on it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. You fall into that cycle. And if sometimes that's a really hard way to live. Just ask Florida State, right? Like one year they hit a bunch of home runs in the portal and they went 13-0. The next year swung and missed more times than not. And they ended up going 2-10. So that's, I don't know that Drink has ever swung totally crazy like that, but it just stresses the importance of talent evaluation and just making sure that you hit more often than not.
Right. Like you started out talking about the offensive line. Like I said a few weeks ago, and it's very unpopular because I understand every year's a go for it year. Fans don't want to hear, hey, the ceiling this year might be 8-4. But like, I want to see Jack Lang and Henry Fanuku and Keaton Jones on the field next year, and I want to see what they can do. Because like at some point you got to know. Because if you don't know, then when Caden Green's gone and when Tristan Wilson's gone, because I assume he starts next year, then you're right back in this. Hey, as long as we land 4 starters out of the portal, we're going to be okay. Well, nobody's landing 4 starters out of the portal. So everybody's learning this. It is very difficult to none of this is saying Eli Drinkwitz sucks or any of that. It is a difficult dance. It is why he gets paid $10 million and I talk on YouTube like an idiot. So there you go.
We'll see. Portal season will be very intriguing. I'm sure over the course of the month of December, we will. I know we joked about loosely creating a quarterback hot board once we find some clarity on what Mizzou may be doing quarterback wise next year. But maybe we have to do that for the offensive line and cornerbacks and certain positions as well. Like, hey, like this, this is a guy I like. This is a guy to keep an eye on. This is somebody that makes sense. This is somebody who doesn't, right? Like things like that. That's where portal season. It's 2 weeks of madness, but it's also like, things tend to come together pretty quickly, for better or for worse. And in the case of Missouri, it has tended to come together better than not, at least in recent years.
Yeah. And I love portal season because it basically packs all recruiting into 2 weeks for the year. I also love that portal season is backed up this year. Like last year, it was like December 19th to 28th, and it could not possibly have been at a stupider time. It was the worst timing, but like you had just tons of guys committing on Christmas Day and stuff. It's so dumb.
Which, I mean, hey, we could still probably realistically see that. Let's not rule that out entirely, but hopefully for our sake, hopefully not.
It will 100% happen. Jason Franken, we need to have a shirt that just says, "Hey, idiots, subscribe" with Power Mizzou on the back. That's a good idea. I do know a couple t-shirt people that may be a thing that we look into. All right. So we talked, kind of off-season needs, all that. There's so much to happen here. I started looking at bowl stuff. I know you're going to write about it. So the Pac-12 teams still go to Pac-12 bowl games. And I'm starting to think that means we're looking at Iowa State, Illinois. There is a chance if Missouri gets the Gator Bowl, which is now what I'm rooting for, because they would get an ACC team. All the ACC teams are the same. Like, I don't have any idea which one. They're all the same team, so it doesn't really matter. But it would at least be something different. The one Billy has up there right now, I will tell you, I am so 1,000,000% against the Texas Bowl because it kicks off at 9:15 at night. Like we can't have I can't be starting a post-game show at 1:00 in the morning.
The Texas Bowl is kind of a take it or leave it for me. Like, I don't know. Houston's a fun city. I've never been to NRG. I think most projections have like Missouri against Iowa State in the Texas Bowl. I think that would be kind of a fun matchup, even though they're kind of longtime old Big 12 rivals. I think the one maybe the one I'm totally against, actually, this is going to sound hilarious, is the Music City Bowl. Like, I don't want to go back to Nashville. Like, no offense, but yeah, like it's just been to Nashville enough. Like, Mizzou was just there last year. They also were just there this year because they played Vanderbilt. Like, hard pass on the Music City Bowl. If I had, like, gun to my head, if I had to pick one right now, give me the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Like, 1, Charlotte, fun city. 2, like the potential for drink to get dunked in mayo. Like, that sounds fun.
Here's the problem with that. SEC doesn't have enough teams to get to the Duke's Mayo Bowl. The SEC only has 4 teams eligible for that group of 6 bowls. There's going to be 2 of them that are filled by non-SEC teams. I'm hoping ReliaQuest or Gator just because they're different opponents, different locations. I've had 2 experiences at the Texas Bowl. The first one, Denario Alexander scored like an 80-yard touchdown on the first snap, and then Missouri completely checked out and got beat by Navy in the Texas Bowl. The second one, they played Texas. It is most well known for Tom Herman mocking Drew Lock with the backpack celebration. But what it should be known for is the only bowl game I know of where a punter was the MVP, and that perfectly described how awful that game was to watch. So I have had to. I bought an Uber driver Whataburger on the way home from the station at like 1:45 in the morning because I was so hungry. So it's a terrible game. Nobody should have to cover it at 9:15 at night. All right. So I promised Drew he could be part of the coaching carousel talk. So let's bring Drew on. And I just want to start this way. I know you guys both were there's Drew. I know you guys both had like travel days yesterday. Cody was driving back from Fayetteville, and Drew was driving back from Texas after Thanksgiving. So like I want to know how you took in what I think was like the craziest non-game day of college football I've ever seen.
Drew, I'll let you go first.
Well, I have a friend who's a big LSU fan, so once my phone started blowing up, I knew it was probably him. And then I just got home, and it's a flood of tweets that just said, like, John Summerall's going here, and Arkansas hired this guy. So, yeah, it was a lot of playing catch up last night for me personally.
I just had Thamel's tweets sent straight to my phone. So like Thamel, Zenitz, Ross, Talty, like all the insiders, like my phone would ping and I would just look down as I'm on the highway. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like don't text and drive. So I didn't open any of them, but there was just a constant flood of Twitter notifications.
Yeah, I yesterday felt like the first day for me in about 6 weeks where I just like wasn't always kind of on edge thinking, hey, something might happen. But I still could not get off the message boards on Twitter because it was like my favorite thing is enjoying other people's misery. So like I spent way more time than I should have on the Arkansas message board yesterday. You know, I was seeking out video of the protests that included like 15 people in Arkansas protesting Ryan Silverfield's hire. Then I was reading the Ole Miss stuff, and watching Neil and Chase and Tyler Siskey. That was, I don't know, Drew. You wanted to be on here to talk about Lane Kiffin, so say what you want to say, man.
Okay, I'm glad. Thank you for having me on. Hey, idiots. So this is the thing that I feel like I've missed in the whole Lane Kiffin debacle, right? Ole Miss, I feel like, kind of put themselves in this position by giving him a deadline. Like, that's the part that I feel like is actually setting a precedent here, not necessarily Lane Kiffin leaving in the middle of the season. Like, I think it's clear Lane didn't want to leave in the middle of the season and was fine with making this decision after the regular or after their playoff run, right? Why did Ole Miss say, no, we need to know sooner than that? Can somebody explain that?
Because Lane Kiffin made this decision. Like, do not buy the idea that he did not know what he was doing. Lane Kiffin has known what he was doing for a minimum of a week and probably 2 or 3. Like, he was leaving and everybody in Oxford knew it. You can't let that guy coach your players every day.
Okay, but here's the difference, Gabe. If you let him go on the run, and let's say they win the title, right? Because that's what this playoff is now. It gives you a real shot to win the title or even get close to it, right? If you get to the semis, suddenly that's a lot more pressure on Lane Kiffin to stay rather than this arbitrary deadline that you're putting on him that, like, hey, we have to know before the playoffs starts, right? And so now, like, I feel like Ole Miss has tanked their chances in the playoffs here when it's like the best season in school history because you got rid of the head coach and you've made this whole big deal about him leaving. It's a huge distraction for the team. It's going to mess with the infrastructure of how everything works. So, yeah, I think that that's gotten not enough heat that Ole Miss put that kind of pressure on their head coach.
I understand where Drew's coming from. I want to throw this variable into this particular discussion. I'm sure you guys have been following along with the continuance of this whole Kentucky moving on from Mark Stoops thing. It looks like, and this is according to Thamel, I had to pull it up to make sure, that Oregon offensive coordinator Will Stein is going to, it looks like he's the target to be Kentucky's next head coach. he is going to call Oregon. He's Oregon's offensive coordinator. He's going to call plays for Oregon through the playoffs before he ultimately leaves for Kentucky. Ole Miss didn't allow Lane to do that. And I understand it. Head coach to head coach as opposed to OC to head coach, one rival to another as opposed to changing conferences entirely. But like, I have not seen the same reaction to that. And it's, to me, very similar. Not exactly an apple for apple comparison, but like, who's to say Will Stein is not talking to some of the backups on Oregon's offense saying, hey, man, you like the way we do things here? Why don't you come with me to Kentucky and we can put some points on the board again? You know, like that's like, why is that not the same thing as what Ole Miss tried to keep from Lane from doing?
Can I also throw out, I don't cover college football, but I would guess it's kind of a similar situation with John Summerall leaving Tulane. I bet Tulane knew he was probably leaving after this year. And I bet South Florida probably knew Alex Golesh was leaving after this year. And so why is that?
That's because it's a group of five. They know, dude. They know. That's part of the deal.
Ooh.
But North Texas, Eric Morris is coaching through the postseason. Like that team's still technically in the playoff hunt.
It's North Texas, man. That's not an SEC.
It's Ole Miss.
It's not the same thing, man. It is. Ole Miss at some point has to stand up and like otherwise for its damn self. No, you're not going to do this to us. To take another, like if John Summerall was leaving Tulane to take the App State job, that's the same thing, or the North Texas job. It is in their league. It's the same team. Cool, Lane. If you want to go there, cool. But like also, and I'm getting most of what I know here from the Ole Miss people. But like from everything I've seen, most of the players don't want him there anymore. Most of the players are tired of this. It would be different if there were players going, "This is bullshit. Let him stay." But I haven't really seen a lot of that. Now the interesting one will be. I guess it's now out that Kalani Sitake at BYU is kind of the main target at Penn State. What if BYU wins? Now, and they're in the playoff. Now he's in the same situation. You know Lane's pulling for that because right now, like I will fully admit, part of this is Lane Kiffin's kind of easy to hate, right? And he's an easy target. But I actually really liked Lane the last few years, and I thought, like, he handled this so poor. Like Pete Carroll and God told him to leave. Lane, take responsibility for something. Stand up there and say, I think LSU's a better job than Ole Miss, and so I'm taking the LSU job, and fuck you if you don't agree with me. I don't care. Cool. All well within your right. He said at his press conference today he didn't know how much he was going to get paid because he told Sexton to only tell him what player. Like, he's a liar, man. And that was the issue with me. Just be honest about it. If Lane had handled this differently, there's a world in which I don't argue with what he's doing. I just think he handled it very, very poorly.
And I don't want to say that he's blameless in this at all. Like I fully agree with you. He went, I think you quoted the term napalm. He went napalm on Ole Miss. Yeah. And
take the LSU job. Don't burn down Ole Miss on the way out.
Okay, but if Lane is saying, can we wait until after the season to make that decision? I don't understand why Ole Miss said absolutely not.
I know that college football is not a marriage, but it's all I can come up with. So let's say you're engaged and she's going, I want to get married, but like there's this other guy and I just need a month to find out if maybe he's the right guy. Mm-hmm. No, man, you don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get the month. My ring is right here. His ring, like you can take his ring, but you got to take it this week. You don't get to take it in a month. After you don't get the honeymoon with me and I buy you steak and lobster for a month and then you pick him anyway. I know it's not a perfect analogy. It's all I can come up with though.
I still don't understand why Will Stein and Oregon are not under the same fire that Lane was, like Ole Miss is like everybody.
Well, because he's not like Lane Kiffin.
Then either light the same fire on Oregon or let's give Lane a little bit of grace? Because I think that team would have been fun if he was calling plays through the postseason, but I totally understand why Ole Miss is like, absolutely not. Like, I get it. I understand. But like the fact that it's just, oh, it's cool. It's Will Stein. It's Oregon. It's Dan Lanning. That's fun. That's awesome. Like recruits will get to see his offense in the postseason. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Does Kentucky have like is Kentucky just going, cool, you don't have to do anything until February 1st or whatever?
I don't
know the situation. I've seen nothing.
I need to look into some of the details, but I mean, per Pete's tweets, which I mean, I don't know if he actually writes full stories anymore, or just tweets like every other insider,
right.
But it looks like just target to be the next coach. Per source, Stein is expected to call Oregon's offense throughout the college football playoff. He'll juggle both jobs until the Oregon season ends.
So that's going to be the deal. Like Monday through Thursday or whatever, he is on the phone. He is doing Zoom calls. He is recruiting as Kentucky's head coach.
Yeah, but so as Oregon's OC, he can go down the hall and say, hey, QB2, why don't you come with me to Kentucky? You can play football in the SEC. Like, why is that not under the same scrutiny?
I guess because Oregon said they're fine with it.
And he's an offensive coordinator.
I don't know if I would do.
He's not a head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. But here's the other thing is like, I think it would make sense for us to say, like, we got to have you out of here before the playoff run starts. If they were actually concerned about like the transfer portal starting or about having to do a coaching search. But the fact that they just turned around and immediately gave the keys over to the defensive coordinator makes that argument like not hold water. And that was what was reported in the CBS Sports article today, was like that's why they wanted to hurry up and have Lane make this decision. But that doesn't make any sense when they knew he was leaving.
I don't think they were going to give it to Pete Golding all along. I think they ended up giving it to Pete Golding because Lane stretched it out till after the Iron Bowl, and John Summerall was already going somewhere else, and Alex Golich was already going somewhere else.
If they know Lane is seriously considering leaving, when is the right time for Lane Kiffin to leave?
I don't really know. Like, I don't know if there's a good answer to that. So that I can't make Lane Kiffin the victim here. I can't do.
No, I'm just saying. I think it's unfair to hold him to the fire as much as he has been. When I think a lot of people would have made the exact same decision as him, put in the same circumstances. They would have handled it differently than Lane did, and I get that that's where the vitriol's coming from.
It's not the decision. He can coach anywhere he wants. He's on to maybe shut up and don't do interviews with Marty Smith every day. Make your decision and go make it. He's like the 17-year-old kid who's posting 6 different versions of his top 10, and yes, there isn't a good time. That's right. There isn't. If your team is good, there isn't. But you know what? The other thing Lane Kiffin could have done? I really want that job. I think it's a better job. It sucks that the timing lined up in a place that I can't take.
Mm-hmm.
He could have done that.
He could have. He chose not to answer before you guys pivot to hoops. To the couple of questions that I saw in the chat. No, we don't have Eli's new contract yet. When he does, you guys will know about it because we'll write multiple things on it on Power Mizzou. No, we're not a segment of ESPN. I just thought that this was a very interesting conversation. So did Gabe, so did Drew. That's why we wanted to talk about it. And I think that was all the big ones. I'm scrolling through real quick before I let you guys talk hoops because I don't know a damn thing about hoops. Have they played anybody yet? The answer is no. They have the 364th toughest schedule in the country out of 365 teams. So, hey, no, we haven't seen Eli's new contract yet. I think that was all the big questions. If not, hit us up on the board and I'll see if I can get to them. But you guys,
all right, let's tie this back real quick to Mizzou because, look, guys, I understand you're mostly here from Mizzou, but there's other things in the world, and we can't only talk about Missouri and not this. David Crockett said, "Gabe, that is literally what Bo Prabula did. He's the backup quarterback. He's not the head coach. Like, it's different, man. It's different. And like I felt for Bo. He was in a bad spot. He did what he had to do. Drew Aller didn't transfer from Penn State before the playoff, and that's I don't know.
But Bo's decision to go was also a product of a really of the college football calendar, which I think we all can agree is messed up. But also, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's going to be a really hard thing to fix moving forward because they're tied to the academic calendar.
That's why it's impossible, because Eli Drinkwood said it less. And this is why I respect Drink, because he'll say the stuff out loud that a lot of people won't say. He said, like, yes, academics are important, but when you're playing football in the SEC, your goal is to play in the NFL. And, like, we got to think about their development as football players, as long as, like, look, here's the smart thing. The transfer portal's in May. That's the smart thing. You know who won't let that happen? The coaches who need these kids on campus for spring football. So then when do you have it? Because the academic people won't let them do it in March, because that might screw up their biology 200 exam. And I know all these kids are going to use that biology test to go on and do great things with it in life. But that's the problem, is we are still doing the student athlete thing. And until we get to the point where these kids aren't know how you fix it.
To quote the great Cardale Jones, they didn't come to class. They didn't come to class. They didn't come for class. They came to play football.
Play school. They
ain't here to play school.
To play school. It's 100% true. Not for 100% of the kids, but he's right about it. But that's the problem with the calendar, is it's tied to the school calendar. And so when do you do this, if not now?
That's a larger.
Nobody has an answer, because there isn't one.
You could make it start earlier, get it all done in one semester.
So I guess you could. Please let's not suggest
make week 0 week 1.
I like summer, dude. Can we not start football practice on 4th of July?
The OTAs in June.
No. When's my time off? When do I get my time off?
What's that?
Like May, April or May?
Yeah, we sleep in May, Gabe.
Okay, well,
we sleep in May.
Basketball transfer portal.
Because if football gets done, it looks like the show's glitching. If football gets done in one semester, they still enjoy, get into schools and get into classes and stuff like that. Like, that can be your portal month. And then you've got February to figure out roster and stuff like that. I think they should skip spring ball and just do summer OTAs.
Eliminate spring football. I would love that. Spring football is the worst thing of the whole year.
Yeah. So then, you can, January is the portal month, because you could have your national championship before Christmas. And then you've got summer workouts replace spring ball, and then you go.
I'm in.
All right.
Preliminary thought. You guys came to talk.
Okay, I think we should. I just want to throw this out there again. I think we should make Cody the president of college sports.
Something apparently happened with the feed. I don't know what it is. Leave the stream and come back in, and then we'll see if that helps. So I don't know. Talk about something for 30.
I got a party popper I can shoot off while you're gone.
Let's go.
Okay.
So to kill the kids are running the school. So Mizzou has played the second easiest schedule in all of college basketball. Great. When are we going to learn something about this team?
We think this week, right? They're going to be on the road against Notre Dame, and then they've got a neutral site game against Kansas. And those are two teams that are better than anyone else they've played in 8 games this season. So there's some pressure games. Like, your only other real test in the non-conference is Illinois, and Illinois might be the best team out of anyone Mizzou is going to play this year. So we'll see. Like it's they got to take some pressure off themselves going into SEC play by winning some of these games.
All right, Cody and Drew, exit out. Cody, you don't have to come back. Drew, come back. Hopefully that'll fix everything. If it doesn't, there's really not much I can do about it because it looks fine to me.
I'll let Drew go first since I have to leave.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to leave, but when I leave, you guys will talk hoops. But we were discussing the easy schedule to this point, and I asked him like when we will actually learn something about this team, and he kind of alluded to this week because what they play Notre Dame and then they play Kansas, and so like what are now that Drew's back, I can finish up the question. What are really yet?
1-1.
Yeah, I think that you've got to go 1-1. Yeah, and really, like out of the three of Notre Dame, Kansas, and Illinois, you got to win one of those at least. Two, I think, puts you in a really good position, and then three, we're talking about a different team than we've been talking about the past month. So, but yeah, like these aren't easy games by any means. Like Kansas, it seems like it's going to have Darren Peterson back, and Notre Dame should be winnable, but it's also on the road, which always makes things interesting. So those are kind of what they're up against this week.
Yeah, I look at the schedule and I see Notre Dame, Kansas, Alabama State, Bethune Cookman, whatever, and then Illinois, Florida, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Auburn, LSU, and I'm just like, whoo, these guys ready for that, or is this just one of those baptism by fire things?
Yeah. All right, Cody, we're gonna let you clear out. I don't know if we fixed anything or not because I can't tell any difference. We'll see. If it sucks, everybody quit watching anyway. So
best of luck to you guys there. Hope.
All right,
Thanks,
have
Cody.
a good one, Cody. Thanks, Ben. All right, Drew. So Notre Dame, like, I don't know, they've got 3 good losses. They haven't really beaten anybody any good, but they've played good teams. They're the best team Missouri's played. Do you think they're actually good?
Maybe. I mean, the 3 games that they've lost have either been on the road or on neutral sites. One of those was Houston, one of those was Kansas, and then the road game was Ohio Country on Ken Palm right now. So, like, understandable losses, I think. Their one high major win was against Rutgers, who isn't any good this year. So, yeah, like, we'll see on Notre Dame. I don't think that this is going to be a quad 1 win by the end of the year, but it should be right around quad 2 or on the edge of it at least.
Like better than Minnesota, we think.
Yeah, Minnesota has not been good this year, it turns out.
Yeah. No, but I agree. I mean, 1-1 is the goal / expectation this week. If they go 2-0, then I think we start to change our goals and expectations for this team.
Yeah, 100%. Because especially like if Darren Peterson is back to be the number 1 pick in next year's draft, so that tells you that they've got the talent to top that kind of a player. So yeah, absolutely, it raises kind of what the ceiling can be for this team, and that's when we start getting into like, well, SEC, it's possible that Mizzou can get into conference title contention, or at least into the top 4. So that's kind of where I think the conversation will go if that ends up happening. But obviously, like, these are 2 not so easy games.
Do we know if Darren Peterson is going to come back?
So Bill Self said today, like, he's been practicing, and they would find out tomorrow morning. But the fact that he's practicing makes me think like he's getting clear. If he has to sit one more time this week, I think he'll probably be ready for that one.
More impactful return, Darren Peterson or Trent Pierce?
Well, they're
come on, that's
okay.
A joke. That's a joke. I'm not being serious. Trent Pierce is not going to be the number 1 pick in next year's draft. Somebody asked.
Well, we don't know. We don't know because we haven't seen him.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Somebody asked how the ACC-SEC challenge was going to go. So I just want to run through these games. Tennessee at Syracuse. Can I say, first of all, that Syracuse is like, they were so good for most of my life. I haven't thought about Syracuse basketball in like 7 years.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't matter at
It's
all.
sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, like, I always hated them, so I didn't want them to be good, but they were good. Now, I forget Syracuse exists as a basketball school.
Yeah, and like, obviously, it didn't go especially well. I forget the coach's name. Oh, this is bad on my part. Who's the old coach's name? Jim Boeheim. It didn't go especially well at the end of Jim Boeheim's tenure.
Right.
And they moved on, hoping that they could move into a new era at Syracuse. And the new era is just as bad as it was when he left. So I don't know what happens there.
Next one. How much would I have to pay you to watch Virginia Tech and South Carolina?
It's a lot of maroon in that game. Golly. I don't know. The limit doesn't exist.
Don't even I don't even care to pick the game. Oklahoma and Wake Forest played for Wake Forest at Mizzou, and it was one of the most electric games I've ever seen. And Wake Forest doesn't matter at all. But like, I'm slightly intrigued about that game. Oklahoma might be good. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Oklahoma hadn't really proved it yet. They did beat Marquette by a point on Friday, but the other games have not been very good for them. And it's definitely seeming like another transition year for Porter Moser, trying to get past Jeremiah Fears leaving for the draft. So we'll see with Oklahoma. I had higher expectations for them in the preseason.
Texas A&M and Pitt. It seems wrong to me that Buzz Williams is not coaching for one of these teams in this game. This is a Buzz Williams game.
This is they should call it that. Just the Buzz Williams game at the ACC-SEC challenge. Yeah.
Florida Duke, like Florida doesn't look Florida like right now.
No,
really.
And that was one of my concerns with Florida coming into this year was like you like Xavier Lee as an individual and you like Boogie Fland as an individual, but how do they fit within like the scheme that Florida runs? And like both guys are way skinnier than Walter Clayton and Elijah Martin and Will Richards was. So Xavier Lee like has not been able to score around the basket. Boogie Fland has been hot and cold so far this year. So the bigs like have been fine. They've been a little bit banged up, but that backcourt I still have a lot of questions about, and I don't know that we're going to get answers about them against Duke of all teams. Like, I don't think that's the game where they're going to get right.
Yeah. Miami, Ole Miss, rumors floating around that Chris Beard may take the Kentucky job before this game and leave Ole Miss before they play the ACC-SEC challenge. So just keep an eye on that. I'm just saying.
Right, but would Ole Miss keep Chris Beard from coaching in the ACC-SEC challenge if he were to accept the Kentucky job?
It's a big storyline that people need to follow. Georgia, Florida State, I feel like is really a chance for Mike Norvell to turn things around and really get things rolling again down in Tallahassee.
I mean, maybe, but like Georgia's been good. Like they've been a lot better than I was thinking they were. I don't know how real it is, but
I was making a football joke that went completely over your head there.
Yeah, you said Mike Norvell and not
I did say Mike Norvell. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you who Florida State's basketball coach is. So
it's Luke Locks. He was
okay.
It was in the NBA last year.
Yeah, I've heard his name before. That's the extent of my knowledge about.
All right,
but yeah,
it's not Leonard Hamilton.
They got killed by somebody earlier. North Carolina, Kentucky. Like I get why they do this for this thing, but wouldn't it be cool for somebody else to get to play North Carolina or somebody else to get to play Kentucky sometime? Like I get they do it for TV, but you know,
it would be fun. But let's be honest, Gabe. Like you're not watching Tennessee North Carolina or Georgia.
I would
North
watch
Carolina.
Tennessee, North Carolina, not Georgia. Yeah. Louisville, Arkansas, I would watch that game.
Yeah,
That's
that's a really good one actually, because Louisville looks really good this year. Like beat the brakes, or not beat the brakes, but beat Kentucky pretty handily. And Arkansas hasn't looked all that good this year, which I picked them to finish number 1 in the SEC this season. That's looking doubtful at this point. But yeah, obviously, like John Calipari, he's a really good coach. I think he can turn it around just like he did last year. But yeah, I'm interested in that one.
Clemson, Bama. Like, can we just do this whole thing as a football series? It would be better. It would be better as a football series.
Yeah.
I mean, the ACC kind of sucks in both of them, but
True. That's the real issue here. Is like,
yeah, ACC is not pulling its weight.
the AC. Well, and like it's not like the SEC is super deep this year either, right? But
Right.
on top of that, the ACC is about 5 or 6. So that makes it really challenging in some of these matchups.
All right, we've gotten to the game that I actually have the least interest in.
Okay.
LSU, Boston College. I would rather claw my eyeballs out than watch that.
That's fair. LSU undefeated, Gabe. I don't know if you knew that.
Good for them. I'm real happy for them. Couldn't tell you anything about them or who they played. SMU, Vanderbilt. Is Vanderbilt like Vanderbilt basketball? Are they the Vanderbilt football of SEC basketball?
It seems like it. I think they're top 10 on KenPom right now. Like, they look legit. And I don't want to say that Missouri would look like that if they played Vanderbilt's schedule, but Vanderbilt has done a good job of putting themselves in that position where like it's just all clicked. Also, Duke Miles has been awesome for him this year. I wasn't expecting that.
NC State's playing at Auburn. Auburn, couple bumps in the road, because their head coach is running for Senate and giving away NIL secrets on national TV. So that might be kind of an issue, I think.
Yeah, but like so is like NC State hasn't looked very good either. They lost to Seton Hall and they lost to Texas.
Oh, that's Will Wade now, isn't it?
Yeah, and it has not been a great start to Will Wade's tenure either.
Yeah. Virginia, Texas seems like it should be a good game, but I don't really know if it is this particular year.
Me neither, to be honest. I don't know what the Texas team is. And Virginia, I think, is under another new head coach this season. So I have no idea what to expect from either team.
All right. So I lived through you vicariously in basketball until Bragan writes Mississippi State, Georgia Tech. How the hell has Mississippi State already lost 4 games? What's going on there?
Well, they did the opposite of Mizzou. They scheduled a bunch of tough games and lost them all. So that's kind of the flip side of not taking an easy schedule. Is like you put yourself at risk of dropping a lot of games and putting yourself behind the 8 ball early. So I think it's like Chris Jans didn't do that good of a job in the portal, and it's basically just Josh Hubbard that's trying to lead the offense right now. And it hasn't been working for him so far. So I think that's been an issue.
All right. So 16 games Tuesday and Wednesday. Who wins this thing? Which league?
I think it's still the SEC. Like ever since the ACC took on all of the Pac-12 teams, like I feel like it's brought the league down a level.
They're not in it though. Stanford and Cal aren't even in this thing.
That's telling, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't look at the ACC and think like, wow, this is a really deep team. They should have several bids to the NCAA tournament. Like it's looking like Duke, Louisville, Clemson, North Carolina, and maybe one other team or two. But
which is so crazy because, like, again, I mean, the ACC was. Like, I watched so many ACC basketball games growing up because it was just that Duke, NC State, Carolina, Wake, Maryland, which the weirdest realignment thing in college sports is that Maryland is not in the ACC. I still believe they are an ACC team. So I know it's been like 10 years, but I can't get used to it.
They should just give them a game in the ACC-SEC challenge. Like, I know they're in the Big Ten, but just lump them in.
No, they should just make them go back to the ACC.
That too.
Like, just that's where you live. Somebody was asking a question about Missouri's net ranking. So those things, look, the net ranking this early is a little weird. They're 51st. I tried to look for it and couldn't find it. Missouri has the 364th strongest schedule so far in college basketball. There are 365 teams. I was unable to find out who was 365. Do you know off the top of your head?
I do. I looked it up right before I came
Okay.
on. It is Miami, Ohio has the easiest schedule so far. Which I didn't know until I think last year that Miami, Ohio is not a city. It's just the name of the school.
Oh, yeah. It's in Athens, I believe.
I think that's right. But I always thought it was just like Miami, Ohio. And it's not that. There is no Miami, Ohio.
There is a Miami, Oklahoma, but it is not pronounced Miami. It is Miami, Oklahoma.
Correct.
Do you know I'm assuming the best basketball player to come out of Miami of Ohio? I think you might know this one.
I don't know off the top of my head. You might.
Wally Zerbiak.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. See, I would have gotten that wrong on our test in the summer. I had no idea.
Yeah, Wally Zerbiak, Miami of Ohio. So, but like, I don't feel like the net rankings could have come out at a worse time for Dennis Gates, because like the schedule does get better literally tomorrow night. So because they came out today, it just gave everybody a chance to do the whole schedule rant one last time real loud. And I get it. Like, I agree with it. But like, if this thing had come out even Wednesday, Missouri does not have the 364th best schedule in the country.
So just to put that in perspective, Gabe, Mizzou has played 1 quad 3 game, 7 quad 4s. LSU has played 3 quad 3s and 4 quad 4s. They're both undefeated. Do you want to guess what LSU's ranking is?
26.
19th, actually. They're top 20.
Okay.
Just by virtue of having a slightly tougher schedule than Mizzou. So, like you said, after playing these games, even if they lose these next 2 games, like they're going to go up in the net rankings just by virtue of playing tougher teams.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, the schedule is like, this is something, again, it's not that I don't agree with it. I'm just so like, do we have to do this every day? We've known the schedule for a long time. We know what it is. Like, it's just another excuse to have like internet rage.
Yeah. Like, would it have been as loud? Would the annoyance have been as loud if they played Kansas in November or they played Illinois?
Right, because the schedule would look different.
Right. They wouldn't be 364th at that point. And so I totally understand the people saying this Dennis Gates does not want people to care about basketball in November. And part of it is yeah, kind of like the point of that slate was just to figure things out without any risk of losing a game early on. And congratulations, mission accomplished. Nobody cares. This is the week where people start caring.
Well, they're going to start caring tomorrow night, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, again, this season is 4 months long. People care. They'll get into it. And the one thing I will defend on the schedule is, like, you scheduled a home and home with Minnesota 3 years ago. Like, Minnesota has gone to a Final Four. I have seen Minnesota be good at basketball in my life. They are not good right now.
Yeah.
But you schedule a Big Ten team, and he didn't know they were awful when that was scheduled.
Correct. In fact, like, Minnesota even changed coaches because they were trying to get their team better, and it hasn't worked out yet. But yeah, like, it's not their fault that Minnesota wasn't as good as I think people were expecting when the schedule got released.
And again, look, Drew and I both agree the schedule has been not entertaining, and we're not fighting back against that. But tomorrow night starts the time where it does get entertaining. Now, it's a really weird schedule too, because like they play these 2 games this week, then they play 2 games nobody cares about next week, and then they play like 1 time in 20 days.
Yeah,
Bragging rights is their only game between like December 14th and January 2nd or something like that.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
it's going to be, I mean, people are really going to forget about basketball.
yeah. Well, that's obviously like intentional because usually they'll play a little tune-up game right before SEC play, like on December 30th or whatever.
Right.
And they were just like, let's just take the time off. Let's just send everybody home, have a longer break, which I'm not opposed to. But like you said, like that's a long time to go without seeing a whole lot of basketball. So everybody should hopefully be well rested. Maybe that's when we see Trent Pierce come back because they finally
Right.
get some time off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how it shakes out over this next month because this is kind of where the season unfolds for them in reality.
Well, and yeah, I mean, you're looking at it right there. The Ken Palm, like 3-point game, 2-point game, 4-point game, 1-point game. Not like those 2 games against Bethune-Cookman and Alabama State are the only ones that are going to be like predicted to be double-digit games the rest of the year. They've got what 23 games left, and 21 of them are legitimate. Like you go into the game not sure who's going to win.
Yeah, like
right.
You're not going to see 97 and 98% chance to win again this year after those 2 games. So everything else is going to be a fist fight, and Mizzou hasn't really had any of those yet. And
yeah, and so we'll see how they answer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Drew is going to South Bend tomorrow. Check out Touchdown Jesus. It's a very cool campus. The town, not maybe quite as cool, but enjoy the trip.
Yeah, I'm planning to. I definitely want to go see Touchdown Jesus, and we'll see what there is to eat in South Bend. Hopefully, it's not Dr. Pepper soaked chicken nuggets this time.
Yeah. And so, look, Drew will be on location tomorrow night in South Bend covering that game for you guys. We're not doing a post-game show because the game's at 8:00, and it frankly may not start that soon because it's the second game of the ACC thing. So, like, we're not doing a post-game show at 11:00 on a Tuesday night, guys. But we will have full coverage of that game. We will have full coverage on Sunday, MUKU. We will do a post-game show then. And Drew, if they win at Notre Dame and win what is technically a road game against Kansas, and you're in attendance for both, the Drew King factor no longer needs to be even monitored. It is all over.
Like it'll be off the charts. Like So
now, if they go 0-2, we might have to have some conversations.
Well, yeah, I understand that. Well, and you just told me like I'm going to be at every game other than 3 in the regular season, or really in the season.
That's the plan. I mean, I hope you can get to South Bend tomorrow. Actually, that might be a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to text me when you get up at 5 a.m. and be like, actually, the roads.
What good is it going to do if I text you at 5 a.m. if you're not actually going to get up?
No, I need you to get up at 5 a.m. check and then let me know, like.
So you can just roll over and go back to bed.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to tell you it looks fine. It's up to you if you want to go.
Okay.
Your call. But anyway, the plan is for Drew to be in South Bend. So, guys, went a little long. I know we rambled. Look, the regular season is over. Like, we're going to do this every Monday, but sometimes we might talk about some weird stuff. Sometimes we might have Drew come on to be wrong about Lane Kiffin. You never know how it's going to go.
I'm surprised he didn't have like any hot takes coming off of the Cleveland State game the day after Thanksgiving.
Dude, that was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was 23-0. And like I was questioning every choice I'd ever made in my life, mostly telling you could go home for Thanksgiving and I would cover that game.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right. I got nothing else, guys. Hopefully tomorrow night will be better. I lied. I do have one other thing. Get in touch with James Carlton. I forgot at the end of the show we need to do that. James is doing a lot of stuff for Mizzou's NIL efforts and doing a lot of stuff to save you money so you can deal with all the moron drivers on Missouri roads. So get in touch with him, carltoninsurance.net, 314-961-4800. And I don't know. Talk to you next time, idiots.